Hey everybody, this is Angela and you're listening to 5 Picks and a Chick featuring El Gato. This is a show that gives you 5 NFL picks for people who love football and friendly wagering. Today we are joined by our special guest, Alma. Thanks for being with us, Alma.
Happy to be here.
Well, Alma, before I go into this podcast, I wanted to make sure to wish El Gato a happy birthday. I forgot to do it in the last podcast, and his birthday was yesterday. So, happy birthday, El Gato.
Happy birthday, El Gato.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, El Gato, last week was not a good week for me. I went 1-4, but you went 3-2. So, my season record is 37 wins, 38 losses, and 5 ties. Yours is 39 wins, 37 losses, and 4 ties. So I have dropped below that 500, but I'm going to try real hard this week to get it back up there.
Yeah, let's do it. Just close games last week. They obviously could have gone either way, but yeah, let's win some this week for sure.
Sounds good. Well, my first pick is going to be the Saints plus 2.5 at Tampa. And the reason I like the Saints here is that Tampa is going for their 5th win in a row. And we all know in the NFL, it's hard to win 5 in a row. The second reason is the line is sitting at 2.5 and not 3, which leads me to believe they are trying to get you to bet Tampa Bay. So I will go the other way, taking the Saints, getting the points. What are your thoughts on this game, Alma?
Actually, I'm going with the Bucks on this one. I feel that they will do well against the so-so Saints team. I just don't see the Saints staying that close in Tampa.
All right. What are your thoughts on this game, El Gato?
Yeah, you raise a good point, Angela, with the Tampa on this 4-game winning streak. And, like you say, in the NFL, it's hard to maintain that or sustain that unless you're just an elite team. But in this one, I'm going to go with Tampa. And the reason why is Baker's playing really well, surprisingly, the way the Bucs started earlier in the season. He's playing really good. He's scoring the football, making passes, cutting down on his turnovers, and really working the pocket and extending those plays to make those third down conversions downfield. Saints have lost 4 of 6. They're both going for a division. The division is on the line. They're playing at Tampa. Tampa should play well, and their defense should continue to play well. I think they're going to put a lot of pressure on the Saints offense. At minus 2.5, I'll take the minus 2.5 at Tampa.
All right, and another point is the Saints are rested, so I'm hoping that bodes well for the Saints in this game.
Although, I do have to say, the Saints in their last 5 games, they've only won against the Giants and the Panthers. What are you really talking about here as far as their wins?
Yeah, they've struggled. They've hit a rough spot, but anything can happen. But I think the Buccaneers are sitting pretty well at minus 2.5. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a tight game.
So let me go into this a little bit deeper with you, El Gato and Alma. Why do you think they have Tampa Bay at minus 2.5 and not 3? Because usually when we see a home team and the teams are fairly evenly matched, that home team gets it gives 3 points. What do you think that's about? It's 2.5 and not 3.
Yeah, that's kind of, that's true. You raise a good point considering that the Saints are on this little skid, not winning very well, only 2 of the last 6 games. I don't know. Things happen really weird in the NFL. They may be thinking the Buccaneers are, they've run out of their good fortune, right? At some point, they've got to, revert back to the average, revert back to the mean, to the way they played earlier. But I don't know. This is going to be a tight game, like I say, a 1-score game, 4th quarter game. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's a weird line for Tampa being really I think the better team, with the momentum. Mm-hmm. But never discount that Saints defense.
Well,
for sure.
Saints aren't eliminated yet.
No, they're still
right. So I think that's why. that the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints are only one game behind. It can go either way.
Right, exactly. So, I think they're giving Saints benefit of doubt, that they'll come out strong to try and maybe win. I don't see that happening.
All right. Well, my second pick is going to be Green Bay +2 at Minnesota. It looks like the injuries are piling up on Minnesota, and it's starting to show because they've lost 3 out of their last 4 games. Although Green Bay squeaked out a win last week, gives them a chance at the playoffs. So I think Green Bay is going to come out playing hard to try to get into the playoffs. Green Bay has a great passing game, and they need this win to stay alive. So I am taking Green Bay, and I think actually Green Bay could win this game. What are your thoughts on this game, Alma?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a cold day in Minnesota on Sunday, and I think that's going to be that same way for their fans as well. The Vikings just have lost, the Vikings have lacked consistency, and in their last 5 games, they've only won 1, and that was against Las Vegas with a horrible score of 3-0. So I definitely see Green Bay winning this one outright.
What are your thoughts on this game, El Gato?
Yeah, good points on that injury bug hitting the Vikings, Angela. At this time of year, every team has some injuries. A lot of players playing with injuries, but, when you have I'm speaking of the Vikings now, when you have a starting tight end that's out, their number 1 pass rusher on the defensive line for the Vikings is out. Addison is probably out, one of their possession receivers plays in the slot for the Vikings. And the Vikings are going to start a rookie quarterback. They're changing quarterbacks again. So, I do expect the Packers defense to really disguise coverages for this rookie quarterback for the Vikings, maybe blitz heavy on him to see how he reacts. And then they can really pinpoint on what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are to further attack him the rest of the game. So Vikings at +2. Yeah, I'll take I'll take the Packers at +2 on this one.
All right. Do you have a third pick for us, Alma?
Yeah, so I know this is a crapshoot, but this is what it's all about, right? So I'm going to pick the Las Vegas Raiders at +3.5. So the Raiders have won the last 2 of their 5 games, one of them being a home game, the other one being an incredible away game last Sunday in Kansas City. I think a lot needs to happen to see the Raiders in the playoffs, but I think they have a little momentum on their side. So I'm going Raiders +3.5 over the Colts. This is for all my Vegas family out there. Go LV.
What are your thoughts on this game, El Gato?
Yeah, this is really a tough game. Both teams as of late playing decent, playing well. The Colts are in the playoff hunt due to the Jaguars' collapse here the last 4 or 5 games, so they're 1 game behind. The Raiders, of all teams, are, with their win last week at the Chiefs, they're only 1 game behind the Chiefs, so they've got to keep playing and continuing to try to win, of course. Raiders at +3.5, I think I'll take the Raiders because they showed pretty well how they could man up against the Chiefs. The Raiders defense practically made that Chiefs team quit last week until very late. The Chiefs tried to come back there at the end, but they just at the very end they just couldn't hold the Raiders when they had to. They just ran out the clock. So I'm gonna count on the Raiders to continue to play well, and at +3.5, that's a touchdown right there practically. So I'll take the Raiders at +3.5.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with Indy in this game. I like the Colts in this spot. I know the Raiders beat the Chiefs last week, but the Raiders only completed 1 pass in the second half. And I double-checked that stat, and I do believe that is correct.
That is correct.
It is, right? Okay. And so that says a lot. They are playing their second road game in a row in an early time spot, which favors the home team, the Colts. So I'm going to go with the Colts in this one.
Yeah, you raised a good point, Angela, with the Raiders only. They rarely had to pass that game, but, they didn't have to. They just ball control with that run. The Raiders with that D, they had the Chiefs number, and the defense knew that they had them. So maybe that's why they didn't have to pass. But yeah, that's a good point.
That's true. That's true. But Raiders defense really showed up that game.
Mm-hmm.
You have a fourth and fifth pick for us?
Yeah, I have a couple of picks. The first game I'm going to select is the Dolphins at the Ravens. The Ravens are at -3. Both teams the Dolphins are just one game behind the Ravens. So Ravens can't afford to slow down or not continue to play, the way they played, of course, last week against the 49ers. They just dominated them. I think the Ravens continue to roll. They have a really balanced team with their running, with their passing, with their kicking game, with Tucker. And with this being only a 3-point game at Ravens at -3, 1-score game, fourth quarter, I'm going to count on the Ravens winning this game late with Tucker maybe making a couple of fourth quarter field goals to win it and to cover. And the Dolphins, of course, Tua playing well, but Tua, I've seen him this year quite a bit, and he seems to struggle with very physical defensive lines and defenses overall. Waddle may be out with an ankle injury, so that's one less weapon for Tua to go to. So I'm going to count on that Ravens defense slowing down this Dolphins offense. So yeah, Ravens -3.
What are your thoughts on this game, Elma?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I'm all for the Ravens by 3.5. I know Hamilton had a great game last Sunday, and even though he got hurt and is questionable for this Sunday, I think the Ravens are on fire. I also saw a meme somewhere, and it said that the only person that was able to get to Lamar Jackson in California was the referee, and that was pretty funny.
That was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
I really thought that play was going to be a game changer, but hey, you know what? It was all okay. They're going into this home game 5-2. I think after it's going to be 6-2 at home for them. So I also read somewhere that Tua and Tariq are questionable for Sunday. I don't know, ESPN.com. So I'm not too sure about that. Plus, but no, Baltimore is going to have great weather, great football, and a W for the Ravens by 3.5.
Well, I am also going with the Ravens. I think last week the Ravens proved they are the best team in the league right now. They are back at home where they can clinch the number 1 seed. And the fact that they are laying a small number, -3 points, I'm taking the Ravens all day long. I think the Ravens defense will hold the line. Miami will freeze their hind.
All right.
Jokes. So I'm going with you in this one, the Ravens.
All right.
You have a fifth pick for us, Elgato?
Yeah, I have one more game. I have the Rams at the Giants, and the Rams are at -5.5, and I'm going to go with the Rams here at -5.5. They're playing really well. Stafford, Kupp, Puka, they're scoring the football at a high rate, over 28 points a game, and that puts a lot of pressure on the opposing defenses to try to stop them, obviously, and then the opposing offenses just to try to keep up, with the Rams and, score for score. The Giants really have nothing to play with. Tyrod Taylor's back at quarterback. Giants just got through playing a physical game with the Eagles on short rest, one day shorter than the Rams have. I just don't see the Giants really putting out an effort in this game. They're playing at home, yes, but nothing to play for. Rams still, have an outside chance at a playoff spot if they continue to win. I'm going to go with the Rams at -5.5. I see this as a touchdown game for the Rams.
All right. What are your thoughts on this game, Alma?
Okay, well, I agree with you. Giants, what are they playing for? I think this game is just ugly all around. Blah. But Giants are out. They don't have a chance. Rams have the 74% chance of making the playoffs. So what is in this game? Nothing but heart. I think being at home, Giants will try and pull out a win for their fans at home. They may not win, but I don't think they're going to allow the Rams to cover.
Yeah, I'm going with you on this one, Elmo. I'm taking the Giants. Giants actually, I think, have an upgrade in their quarterback with Tyrod Taylor instead of DeVito. Rams have to go in on the road in the elements, and I think the Giants can keep it close. So I am going with the Giants.
All right, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
And one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast, our guest picker was Henry last week, and he went 3-2. So I just want to make that quick note in our podcast.
Way to go, Henry.
Way to go, Henry. Any final thoughts, El Gato?
Hey, you know what? The regular season is winding down, and we can see the playoff picture developing. Teams moving forward, and a lot of tight games this weekend with teams vying for control of their division. So it'll be some tough football this weekend for sure.
Be some exciting football this weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of exciting football. What about you, Alma? You have any final thoughts?
No, just ready for the game tonight. See what happens with the Browns and Jets, and then go on a Saturday and with the Cowboys and Lions, and ready for New Year's Eve football on Sunday.
All right.
Yeah, before we end, I want to wish you guys a happy new year. I appreciate you all doing this podcast with me. And also to all our listeners out there, a happy new year. Be safe out there. And if you've made it to this point in our podcast, we just want to thank you for listening to 5 Picks and a Chick. Be sure to tell your friends about us. Also hit the subscribe and like button on our YouTube channel at 5 Picks and a Chick. You can also find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts, or ask Alexa to play 5 Picks and a Chick. Thank you to Alma for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure to join us next week. And as always, thank you to El Gato for being part of 5 Picks and a Chick. 1, 2, 3, break.
Great. It's a wrap.